So I'm a little bit drunk, but I just finished I don't know if you could call it a conversation between Richard Spencer, and Catboy. I guess you can call it. That's what they're calling him on the kill stream. I'm going to call him Catboy too because his screen name is disgusting, and I don't want my video to get flagged even more than it already probably is being. But what I wanted to talk about was the dichotomy of strategies that they discussed. I guess it was more Spencer kind of lecturing, but Spencer's idea, he's always been an elitist, and he has this idea that the best strategy is to try to get the most intelligent people that we can, and then use those people to then infiltrate and subvert institutions and governments. Catboy and the Groyper idea is no, we should influence the masses first, and then sort of in a communist style, actually, ironically, considering they claim to be more right wing than, the alt right is just a bunch of liberals and Straussists, right? But they're the ones that want like a bottom up revolution, which is really what communism advocated for. Well, what's funny about this? I actually disagree with both of them. I think that both of these strategies are going to fail for different reasons. Let's start with Spencer. Let's say you have one of these academics, one of these professors, and I've seen this personally. A professor gets a little bit too woke, right? He's teaching some ideas to his students that are not in line with the system, right? And they might not even be overtly racist or sexist or anything like that, but just like anti-Zionist ideas. You start teaching some of that, and the right people notice. I should say the wrong people notice, and they're going to try to come after you. And we saw this in the lobby. They will try to dig up something on your past to discredit you with your own people, or to try to make you look bad, smear you, get you fired from your job. If that doesn't work, they'll simply make something up. One of the things that they revealed in that documentary was that they were fond of drumming up fake rape allegations, false rape allegations against professors. Even if they wouldn't go anywhere, it was enough to distract them or to, ruin their reputation, their image, and make them, sort of seem as though they're not credible anymore. And that's been very effective for them. So the number of people that you're going to awake with that strategy could easily be crushed, and maybe not even heard of. I'm not going to dox myself. I don't want to go into details about this, but I've seen this locally. I've seen professors locally get crushed for saying things that are, things about obvious biology, similar to the, is it James Watson, I think his name was? The Nobel Prize winner that ended up having to pawn his Nobel Prize because he was kicked off of every committee he was on for stating that maybe race realism might have some merit, kind of thing. One of the men that sequenced the human genome, I believe. This sort of stuff happens all the time, and you rarely even really hear about it. And so that I think is the problem. You can't really out-subvert these people. You can't use their strategy against them because it's their strategy. They've been doing this for thousands of years, and now that they have the institutional power, they're not going to let you do to them what they did to you. You're attacking the system at its strongest point, in a sense. And the other side, the Catboy idea, that we should influence the normie, the problem with that is that they thrive on having people that they can use for propaganda, right? One of the reasons that the alt-right has been semi-successful is that they have been sort of elitist. And so they will keep people out if they seem like they're a bit stupid, easily led, or people who make certain mistakes, rat people out, provide information to the FBI, that sort of thing. That gets you in real shit, right? Because we don't want idiots. We don't want people that are going to be easy tools to be used against us. And when you're appealing to the normie, you're appealing to NPCs. You're appealing to people that are that have already absorbed the propaganda, and now you're trying to sway them with your own propaganda. These are the kinds of people that Fed post on Breitbart. These are the kinds of people that are going to be easily, they're going to be marks. They're going to be marks to be used against you, to portray you as a violent movement or a violent ideology, and it doesn't matter like what you try to do. Spencer's right in a sense. You can't appeal to the lowest common denominator. But I think that you're looking at it from two polar opposites, two polar extremes, really. Like, you either appeal to the most intelligent or the least intelligent. But like, what about the midwits? What about the people in the middle? Like, I think that what you really want, what might be more effective than either strategy, would be to have like a larger cult of people, not with 140, 150 IQ, but people maybe in the 110, 120 range, right? People that are intelligent enough to present themselves well, maybe not have all the answers, but motivated enough to read books on the subjects, to consume hours of content, to refine their positions, their arguments, and their understanding of these things. It takes commitment, It takes dedication, and it does take some modicum of intelligence. You can't just be some dumb guy who really cares about these politics. You'll just end up being, some skinhead, right? You'll have a very, as they say, grug-brained understanding of it. So you need people who are devoted, intelligent, and well-meaning. But you can't have them be too stupid, or they're going to be propaganda, and if you set the bar too high, you're just simply not going to get enough people to be able to make a difference. Because, you do need numbers, and you do need power, and you do need intelligence. So I think that it's that middle ground, and I would call it a cult. It's a people of it's a group of fanatics who dedicate themselves to these politics and understanding them, so that they can sort of purport these ideas to their friends and family and coworkers and such, and sort of get the ideas out that way. I think that's probably how this is going to go, how word is really going to spread. But that also brings me to the optics wars. I know that's been over for a long time now, but this whole idea, like looking at things from two polar opposites, you could see that about the optics wars. The people that think that you can put your arm up at a certain degree and say a certain German phrase and like not get in trouble, or that, I shouldn't say that, but not affect the masses' perception of you, right? We should just be honest, just lay it out for people, right? That's sort of the quote unquote Wignat view. Of course, I don't agree with that term, but you know what I mean. The Groyper view is like, well, let's coat our ideology in this like innocuous language and image, and try to infiltrate people. Well, your ideology is like a Trojan horse at that point. Like, you're trying to interject your ideas into the mind of someone who really wouldn't be receptive to it, but because you code it like this, you're like trying to pass it on to them. But once they like realize what they've become, like they're gonna think like, wow, this guy's like just a propagandist. Like, he didn't tell me outright what he was trying to sell to me. He just tried to swindle me. And I think that's going to cause a rejection to an extent. It also causes you to be dishonest, because when you're asked straightforward questions about what you believe, you can't always answer honestly, because you're trying to maintain an image, right? This is what leads politicians to lie. At what point are you just another politician, if that's how you're going to approach every conversation? These people tell you whatever you want to hear just to try to get their way. So like, why fucking bother? Why engage in that filth? Isn't that what we're trying to remove? Anyway, I think that you need to realize, like, yeah, there is an extent to which how people perceive you affects your ideology and its ability to spread. Because if people are turned off immediately, if CNN takes that little salute and puts it at the beginning of your speech rather than at the end, like, that's going to immediately make everyone like averse to any of your ideas. They're just going to look at you and be like, all right, this guy's a crazy Nazi, and I'm not going to listen to him. And I think that's just how it is. I'm sorry, but I just think that's the way it is. You do have to present yourself in a certain way just to get your foot in the door. But at the same time, if you try to sugarcoat and be dishonest and not be straightforward with people, that dishonesty in itself is going to turn them off of you. And it's also going to negate most of your arguments against the system, because you're using the same tactics, you're using the same strategy. How are you any different? So yeah, I think it's a middle ground. There has to be a balance between these things. I don't think that you can really approach any of these arguments. Like, it's almost like a kosher sandwich. It really is. It's like two polar opposites warring against each other in this impotent, just like facile struggle that doesn't get anywhere, that just leads you down like roads designed to be destructive to you. I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of stupid and don't understand this, but that's how it looks from the outside looking in, as someone who's not as grizzled in these politics as a lot of you may be. I just think that I think we need to find some rational compromise between these things, rather than looking at these two extremes and thinking, I gotta pick a side. It's not as simple as that. So, thank you, and have a good night.